The rain fell heavily against the tall glass windows, blurring the lights of the city into a cold, distant glow. Anna Reed stood alone in the living room of the Cole mansion, her reflection faintly visible in the glass. She wore a simple cream dress, her hair tied neatly just as Ethan preferred. Everything about her had been shaped to fit into his world. And yet, she had never truly belonged in it. Behind her, the large house was silent. Too silent. Once, she thought silence meant peace. Now, she knew it meant absence. Still waiting for him? The sharp voice cut through the quiet. Anna turned slightly. Claire Cole leaned against the doorway, arms crossed, a faint smile playing on her lips. It wasn't warm, it never was. He said he would come home tonight, Anna replied softly. Claire let out a small laugh. You still believe everything my brother says? Anna didn't answer. Because she did. Or at least, she used to. 3 years. 3 years of marriage. 3 years of giving up everything. Anna had once been full of dreams. She had plans, her own career, her own identity. But when Ethan's company struggled in the early days, she stepped in quietly. She used her family connections. Her savings. Even her pride. She never told him how many nights she stayed awake fixing his proposals, reviewing contracts, solving problems before he even knew they existed. Because she thought that was love. He's busy, Claire continued, walking slowly into the room. You wouldn't understand his world anyway. Anna lowered her gaze slightly. I never asked to understand. I just wanted to support him. Claire's smile deepened, almost amused. Support? She stepped closer, her voice lowering. Or control? Anna's eyes lifted, startled. What do you mean? Oh, come on, Claire said lightly. Everyone knows the Reed family has been pulling strings behind the scenes. My brother's success, how much of it is really his? That's not true, Anna said quickly, her voice trembling just a little. I never. Never what? Claire interrupted smoothly. Never interfered. Never made decisions for him. Anna fell silent. Because she had. But never for herself. Always for him. The sound of a car pulling up outside made Anna's heart jump. His back, she whispered. For a moment, hope flickered in her eyes. Claire watched her quietly, that same unreadable expression lingering. The front door opened. Ethan Cole walked in, his presence filling the space instantly. He looked tired, his suit slightly wrinkled, his expression cold and distant. Anna stepped forward instinctively. You're home. Ethan glanced at her briefly. Just that. Nothing more. No warmth. No acknowledgement of the dinner she had prepared. Of the hours she had waited. You should eat, Anna said gently. I made your favorite. I already ate. The words were simple. But they landed like a quiet blow. Anna's hands tightened slightly at her sides. Oh, I see. Claire walked past her with ease. Big day today, right? The deal went through? Ethan nodded. Yes. That's amazing, Claire said with a smile. All your hard work finally paid off. Anna looked at him, her eyes soft despite everything. I'm glad. Ethan didn't look at her. Later that night, the house returned to silence. Anna sat alone in the dining room, the untouched food still on the table. Cold. Just like everything else. A file lay beside her. She hadn't meant to see it. But it had been left in Ethan's study, carelessly, as if it didn't matter anymore. Slowly, her fingers moved, opening it again. Inside were documents. Legal documents. Divorce papers. Her breath caught. No, she whispered. Her eyes scanned the page quickly, desperately. Ethan Cole. Anna Reed. Termination of marriage. Her hands began to shake. There was more. A report. Financial misconduct. Her name attached to it. Accusations. Evidence. All pointing to her. The door behind her creaked open. Anna turned. Ethan stood there. For a long moment, neither of them spoke. Is this real? Anna asked, her voice barely steady. Ethan's expression didn't change. You saw it. I didn't do this, she said quickly, standing up. Ethan, you know me. I would never. The evidence says otherwise. His voice was calm. Too calm. Like he had already decided. Anna took a step closer. Then don't believe the evidence. Believe me. For a second, just a second, there was hesitation in his eyes. But it disappeared. I believed you once, he said. Anna froze. What does that mean? She whispered. Claire's voice echoed faintly from the hallway. Brother, are you still talking to her? Anna turned slightly, realization slowly dawning. Her heart sank. You think I did this, she said, her voice breaking. Ethan didn't answer. And that silence was louder than anything else. Everything she had given. Every sacrifice. Every moment. All of it meant nothing. That night, Anna walked out of the Cole mansion alone. The rain had not stopped. It poured endlessly, soaking through her clothes, her skin, her very bones. But she didn't feel cold. She didn't feel anything. A bright light flashed. A car speeding through the intersection. A sudden screech. And then, darkness. Anna gasped sharply. Her eyes flew open. Sunlight streamed through the window. Warm. Bright. Alive. She sat up abruptly, her heart pounding. The room was familiar. Too familiar. Her old room. In the Reed house. Her hands trembled as she looked around. Everything was the same. Unchanged. Untouched by the years she had lived and lost. A mirror stood across from her. Slowly, she got up and walked toward it. The reflection staring back at her was younger. Hopeful. Unbroken. Anna stared at herself. Her lips parted slightly. I'm back. And in her eyes. The softness was still there. But something else had taken root. Something sharper. Something stronger. This time. She would not give everything away. Morning sunlight filled the room, soft and warm, so different from the cold darkness of her last memory. Anna Reed stood in front of the mirror, unmoving. Her fingers slowly touched her face, as if confirming she was real. Alive. Not broken. Not abandoned. Not alone. A knock came at the door. Anna, are you awake? The voice was familiar. Too familiar. Her chest tightened. Come in, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. The door opened, and Lucas Reed stepped in. He looked exactly the same, calm, slightly serious, but with that quiet concern hidden in his eyes. In her past life, she had misunderstood that look. She thought he was controlling, cold. But now, she knew better. You didn't come down for breakfast, Lucas said. Are you feeling okay? Anna stared at him for a moment longer than necessary. In her past life, this was the brother she had pushed away, for Ethan. The brother she ignored when he warned her. The brother she lost. I'm fine, she said softly. Lucas frowned slightly. You don't look fine. A pause. Then, unexpectedly, Anna stepped forward and hugged him. Lucas froze. Anna. I'm okay, she repeated, her voice quieter now. I just had a bad dream. He hesitated before gently patting her shoulder. You're acting strange today. Anna smiled faintly against him. If only you knew. At breakfast, everything felt surreal. Her parents were chatting casually. Lucas sat across from her, occasionally glancing her way. It was all so normal. So peaceful. Anna, her mother said, don't forget you're meeting Ethan today. The name hit like a stone dropped into still water. Ethan Cole. Anna's hand paused mid-air. In her past life, this was the day everything began. The day she said yes. The day she stepped into a life that would slowly take everything from her. I'm not going, Anna said calmly. Silence fell over the table. Lucas raised an eyebrow. Not going. You were the one who insisted on meeting him, her mother added, confused. You said he seemed promising. Anna gave a small, composed smile. I changed my mind. Lucas studied her carefully. This wasn't like her. Not at all. Did something happen? He asked. Anna shook her head. No. I just realized I have other priorities. That part wasn't a lie. This time, her priority was herself. Later that day, Anna walked through the city streets, the noise and movement grounding her thoughts. Everything was the same. But she wasn't. Her phone buzzed. A message. Ethan Cole, I'm at the cafe. Where are you? Anna stared at the screen. In her past life, she had rushed to him. Apologized for being late even when she wasn't. Smiled. Tried. Hoped. This time. She locked her phone and slipped it into her bag. Without replying. Inside a nearby cafe, Ethan sat by the window, his expression already impatient. Minutes passed. Then more. His phone remained silent. He frowned. This wasn't like Anna. She had always been early. Always waiting. Strange, he muttered. For the first time. He was the one being left behind. Across town, Anna stepped into a modern office building. The sign read, Carter and Company. Inside, the atmosphere was lively, filled with quiet ambition and fresh ideas. At the center of it stood Mia Carter, her best friend. Confident. Sharp. Alive with energy. Anna. Mia blinked in surprise. What are you doing here? Anna smiled. A real smile this time. I came to work with you. Mia laughed, thinking it was a joke. You. Miss, I'm going to marry rich and live peacefully. Anna tilted her head slightly. I said that. Multiple times. Anna's smile faded just a little. That was before. Mia noticed the change immediately. You're serious? Yes. A pause. Then Mia grinned. I like this version of you better. As they sat down to talk, Anna's mind began organizing itself. Step by step. Piece by piece. In her past life, she had poured everything into Ethan's company. Behind the scenes. Unseen. Unrecognized. This time. She would build something of her own. Something no one could take from her. Mia, Anna said, leaning forward slightly, your current project, the investor proposal. It's missing a key risk analysis section. Mia blinked. How do you know that? Anna didn't hesitate. Because that's where investors will hesitate. She reached for a pen and began sketching ideas. Clear. Precise. Confident. Mia watched, stunned. Since when do you know all this? Anna paused briefly, then smiled. I've been learning. Not a lie. Just not in this life. As the afternoon passed, something shifted. Anna wasn't following anymore. She was leading. Meanwhile, in the Cole household, Claire sat comfortably, sipping tea. Ethan walked in, his expression darker than usual. She didn't show up, he said. Claire raised an eyebrow. Who? Anna Reed. Claire paused for a fraction of a second. Then smiled. How surprising. But her eyes narrowed slightly. Something about this didn't feel right. Back at the office, Anna stood by the window, looking out at the city. The same city where she once lost everything. Her reflection stared back at her. Familiar. Yet different. In her past life, she gave everything away. Her love. Her trust. Her future. This time. She would take it all back. Slowly. Carefully. Completely. Anna's gaze hardened just slightly. Ethan Cole, she murmured under her breath. You won't even see it coming. The city lights shimmered against the glass walls of Carter and Company, reflecting a quiet transformation that was no longer subtle. Anna Reed stood at the head of the conference table. Confident. Composed. Unrecognizable from the woman she used to be. Let's go over the numbers again, Anna said, her tone calm but firm. A screen behind her displayed charts, projections, and market risks, each point clear, structured, and sharp. Mia Carter leaned back slightly, watching her with a half smile. Just a few days ago, Anna had walked in asking for a chance. Now, she was leading meetings like she had been doing it for years. You're saying we delay the launch? One of the team members asked. Anna nodded. Not delay. Adjust. She stepped closer to the screen, pointing at a section. If we move now, we rely too much on unstable funding. But if we restructure and target smaller investors first, we gain control instead of losing it. There was a brief silence. Then, that actually makes sense. Yeah, it reduces risk. Mia crossed her arms, impressed. All right, she said. We follow Anna's plan. As the meeting ended, Mia pulled Anna aside. Okay, she said, lowering her voice, be honest. Who are you and what did you do with my best friend? Anna laughed softly. I told you. I've changed. Mia studied her for a moment. You didn't just change, she said. You upgraded. Anna smiled but didn't respond. Because this wasn't an upgrade. It was a second life built on lessons she paid for with everything. Meanwhile, across the city, inside a sleek corporate office, Ethan Cole stood in front of a large window, his expression cold. We lost the investor. The words came from one of his executives, tense and uneasy. Ethan didn't turn. Why? They pulled out last minute. Said our proposal lacked confidence. A pause. Then, they mentioned risk concerns. Ethan's jaw tightened slightly. That had never been an issue before. Their proposals were always solid. Detailed. Convincing. Fix it, he said flatly. But as the team left, a quiet thought lingered in his mind. Why now? Because for the first time, Anna wasn't there. Back at Carter and Company, the energy was different. Alive. Growing. Good news, Mia announced, walking into Anna's office. We've got a meeting with a major investor tomorrow. Anna looked up. Who? Mia grinned. Daniel Brooks. Anna's hand paused slightly. That name. She remembered it. In her past life, Daniel Brooks was already powerful, an investor known for his sharp instincts and calm demeanor. He rarely invested without absolute certainty. And he never trusted easily. Interesting, Anna murmured. The next day, the meeting room was quiet, almost tense. The door opened. And Daniel Brooks walked in. He was exactly as she remembered. Calm. Observant. Unreadable. His eyes swept across the room before settling briefly on Anna. Just a second. But enough. Mr. Brooks, Mia greeted. Thank you for coming. Daniel nodded slightly. Let's begin. The presentation started. Clear. Structured. Confident. But it wasn't until Anna spoke that the room shifted. If you look at the long-term projection, she said, her voice steady, you'll notice that most companies in this position fail due to overexpansion. She clicked to the next slide. We're not going to make that mistake. Daniel leaned back slightly, watching her now. Not just listening. Observing. Anna continued, each word precise. We're building something sustainable. Not fast, strong. Silence followed. Not uncomfortable. Focused. Daniel finally spoke. You're not the CEO. Anna met his gaze. No. Then why are you leading the strategy? A pause. Then. Because I understand the risks, she replied simply. His eyes lingered on her for a moment longer. Then he nodded. Good answer. The meeting ended with no clear outcome. But as Daniel left, he paused briefly beside Anna. You've done this before, he said quietly. It wasn't a question. Anna held his gaze. Then gave a small, composed smile. Maybe I just learn quickly. Daniel didn't smile back. But something in his expression shifted. Interest. Elsewhere. Inside the Cole house. Claire sat across from Ethan, watching him carefully. You've been distracted, she said. Ethan didn't deny it. Something's off. Claire tilted her head. Business. Partly. He hesitated. Then. Anna didn't show up the other day. Claire's fingers tightened slightly around her teacup, but her expression remained calm. Is that bothering you? Ethan frowned. It's unusual. Claire smiled faintly. Or maybe she finally realized her place. Ethan didn't respond. But something about that didn't sit right with him. For years, Anna had been predictable. Reliable. Always there. And now, she wasn't. That absence was louder than anything she had ever said. Back at the office, Mia burst into Anna's room. He's interested, she said excitedly. Anna looked up. Daniel. Mia nodded. He didn't say yes, but he didn't say no either. That's basically a yes from him. Anna leaned back slightly. Everything was moving. Slowly. But exactly as she intended. This time. She wasn't supporting someone else's success. She was building her own. And somewhere in the distance, the balance had already begun to shift. Anna looked out the window, her reflection steady and unshaken. In her past life, she gave everything away. This time, she would take back control. One step at a time. The atmosphere inside the coal house had changed. It was subtle, but undeniable. Why is this report still incomplete? Ethan Cole's voice was sharp, cutting through the quiet tension in the meeting room. No one answered immediately, because no one had a good answer. In the past, problems like this never reached him. They were solved quietly, efficiently, before they could become visible. But now, every flaw surfaced. Every weakness showed. We're working on it, one manager said carefully. Ethan's expression darkened. Working on it isn't enough. He closed the file abruptly. For a moment, frustration flickered across his face. Not loud, but growing. Because deep down, he knew something was missing. And for the first time, he didn't know how to fix it. Across town, the energy at Carter and Company was the complete opposite. Alive. Focused. Controlled. Anna Reed stood beside Mia, reviewing the latest updates. The revised numbers are stable, Mia said. And we've secured 2 smaller investors already. Anna nodded. Good. That gives us leverage. Mia glanced at her with a grin. You planned this, didn't you? Anna didn't deny it. Big investors want control, she said calmly. Small ones give us flexibility. Mia laughed softly. You're scary when you're this smart. Anna smiled faintly. Not scary. Just no longer naive. By the way, Mia added, Daniel Brooks requested another meeting. Anna's gaze lifted slightly. Already? Mia nodded. Told you, he's interested. Anna turned toward the window, thoughtful. Daniel wasn't someone who moved without reason. If he was coming back, it meant he saw value. And value was something she would never give away for free again. Meanwhile, inside the coal house, Claire sat in the living room, scrolling through her phone. Her expression was calm. Too calm. A servant approached cautiously. Miss Claire, Mr. Cole is asking for you. Claire smiled faintly. Of course. She walked into Ethan's study, closing the door behind her. You wanted to see me? Ethan didn't look up immediately. When he did, his gaze was sharper than usual. The financial issue from last quarter, he said. You told me Anna handled it. Claire didn't hesitate. She did. Ethan studied her. For someone who handled so much. He paused. Why is everything falling apart now? Claire's smile didn't fade. Maybe she wasn't as capable as you thought. Silence. But this time, Ethan didn't immediately agree. Something felt off. He remembered the reports. The deals. The way things used to run smoothly. And now, everything was unstable. Look into it again, he said finally. Claire's fingers tightened slightly at her side. But her voice remained light. Of course. As she turned to leave, her expression darkened for just a moment. Anna Reed. What are you doing? Back at Carter and Company. The second meeting with Daniel Brooks began. This time, the atmosphere was different. Less formal. More direct. I reviewed your revised proposal, Daniel said, sitting across from Anna. And? Mia asked, unable to hide her curiosity. Daniel's gaze remained on Anna. It's improved. Mia grinned. I'll take that as a compliment. Anna stayed calm. But not enough. Daniel's lips curved slightly. You know that already. A pause. Then he leaned forward slightly. You're holding back. Mia blinked. What? Daniel didn't look at her. He was watching Anna. You're building something safe, he continued. Controlled. Predictable. Anna met his gaze. And that's a problem. For most people, no, he said. For you, yes. Silence filled the room. Because he was right. Anna had been careful. Strategic. Measured. But not bold. Not yet. Risk isn't the enemy, Daniel added quietly. Fear is. For a moment. Something flickered in Anna's eyes. Not fear. Not hesitation. Recognition. In her past life, she had taken risks. But they weren't hers. They were for Ethan. This time, if she took a risk, it would be for herself. I'll revise it, Anna said calmly. Daniel nodded once. I'll be waiting. As he stood to leave, he paused beside her again. You're different from what people say. Anna tilted her head slightly. What do they say? That you're just someone's support. A brief silence. Then Anna smiled. Not anymore. Elsewhere. The tension in the Cole family finally began to show. At dinner, the atmosphere was strained. Ethan's mother frowned. Why has the company been so unstable lately? Claire spoke before Ethan could answer. It's just a temporary issue. But Ethan didn't respond. Because for the first time, he wasn't sure that was true. Maybe we relied too much on the wrong people, Claire added casually. Ethan's gaze shifted slightly. Maybe, he said slowly. Claire looked at him, surprised. That wasn't the response she expected. Because before, he would have agreed immediately. Blamed Anna. Without question. But now, doubt had begun to grow. And doubt was the beginning of everything falling apart. That night, Ethan stood alone in his study. His eyes fell on an old file. Anna's handwriting. Notes. Corrections. Suggestions. Detailed. Precise. Important. His fingers tightened slightly. Had he overlooked something? For the first time. He wasn't certain of his own judgment. Across the city, Anna stood on the balcony of her apartment. The wind was cool, brushing against her face. The city stretched endlessly before her. Bright. Alive. Full of possibility. Behind her, her phone lit up. A message. Ethan Cole. Anna glanced at it. But didn't pick it up. Instead, she looked forward. In her past life, she chased after him. Waited for him. Lived for him. This time, she wouldn't look back. Not even once. And somewhere in the distance, the cracks in the old world were growing wider. Soon, everything would break. The air in the Cole house felt heavier than ever. Not loud. Not chaotic. But tense, like something was about to snap. Ethan Cole sat at the head of the long dining table, untouched food in front of him. Across from him, Claire remained composed, elegantly cutting her meal. As if nothing had changed. But everything had. Claire, Ethan said suddenly. She looked up, calm as always. Yes. He placed a file on the table. I had someone review the financial case from before. Claire's hand paused for a fraction of a second. Barely noticeable. But not invisible. And, she asked lightly. Ethan's gaze was steady. Something doesn't add up. Silence. Their mother looked between them, confused. What do you mean? Ethan didn't look away from Claire. The evidence was too perfect. Claire smiled faintly. Isn't that a good thing? No, Ethan said quietly. It means it was planned. The words hung in the air. Heavy. Sharp. For the first time. The foundation of Claire's control cracked. Meanwhile, at Carter and Company, the atmosphere was completely different. Excited. Focused. Alive. Mia burst into Anna's office, barely containing herself. We got it. Anna looked up, calm but attentive. Daniel. Mia nodded rapidly. His in. Full investment. A small silence followed. Then, Anna exhaled slowly. Not relief. Not surprise. Confirmation. Good, she said. Mia stared at her. Good. That's it. Do you know how big this is? Anna smiled slightly. I do. Because in her past life, this moment had existed. But not for her. This time, it was hers. Later that day, a formal signing meeting was arranged. Daniel Brooks sat across from Anna, reviewing the final documents. You made changes, he said without looking up. Yes. More aggressive. Anna met his gaze. More honest. Daniel studied her for a moment. Then, he signed. Then let's see how far honesty takes you. As the deal closed, Mia practically vibrated with excitement. We did it, she whispered. Anna nodded. But her eyes were distant. Because she knew. This was only the beginning. Elsewhere. The storm inside the Cole family had finally arrived. Ethan stood in his study, papers scattered across the desk. Reports. Transactions. Timelines. And one conclusion. Call her, he said coldly. Minutes later, Claire entered the room. You wanted to see me again, she asked, still composed. Ethan didn't waste time. He threw a document onto the table. Explain this. Claire glanced at it. Her expression didn't change. But her silence did. It traces the financial report back to you, Ethan continued. Not Anna. Still. Silence. Say something, he demanded. Claire finally looked up. And smiled. So what if it does? The room froze. Their mother gasped. Claire, what are you saying? Claire set the document down casually. I'm saying, she replied calmly, that Anna was never the right person for this family. Ethan's voice dropped. So you framed her? Claire tilted her head slightly. I protected you. The words were soft. But twisted. She was controlling everything behind your back, Claire continued. Your company, your decisions, your life. That's not true, Ethan said sharply. But even as he spoke, doubt flickered. Because he didn't know anymore. Claire noticed. And smiled. You see, she said gently. Even now, you're not sure. That hesitation. That moment. Was all she needed. But this time. It wasn't enough. Get out, Ethan said suddenly. Claire blinked. What? Get out, he repeated, colder now. The air shifted. For the first time. He chose not to believe her. Claire's smile faded. Just slightly. You're making a mistake, she said quietly. Ethan didn't respond. Because he already had. And now. He was finally starting to see it. That night. Rain fell once again. Just like before. Ethan stood outside a familiar building. Anna's apartment. His hand hovered over the door. For a long moment. He didn't knock. Because for the first time. He didn't know what to say. Inside. Anna stood by the window, watching the rain fall. Her phone buzzed. Ethan Cole. She picked it up this time. But didn't answer. Just looked at it. In her past life, she would have run to him. Without hesitation. Without pride. Now. She simply turned the phone face down. And walked away. Outside. Ethan finally knocked. Once. Twice. No answer. The silence on the other side of the door felt heavier than rejection. It felt final. For the first time. He understood what it meant to be ignored. To be left behind. To lose something. Without even realizing when it slipped away. Back inside. Anna sat down quietly. Her expression calm. Steady. The storm outside continued. But inside. Everything was clear. Piece by piece. The truth had surfaced. And with it. Everything that once stood against her. Had begun to fall. Only one step remained. And this time. She would finish it. The rain had stopped. For the first time in a long while, the city felt still. Morning light poured into Anna Reed's apartment, soft and steady. She stood by the window, a cup of coffee in her hand, watching the world below. Cars moved. People rushed. Life continued. But for her, everything had already changed. Behind her, the television played quietly. A business news segment. Carter & Company has officially become one of the fastest-growing firms this quarter, following a major investment led by Daniel Brooks. Anna didn't turn. She didn't need to. She already knew. Every step. Every decision. Every risk. This time. It was all hers. A knock came at the door. Anna set her cup down slowly. She didn't need to guess who it was. When she opened the door, Ethan Cole stood there. He looked different. Less composed. less certain. For a moment, neither of them spoke. I won't take long, Ethan said finally. Anna stepped aside slightly. Come in. He entered, glancing around the apartment. Simple. Clean. Peaceful. So different from the life they once shared. I heard about your company, he said. You've done well. Anna gave a small nod. Thank you. Silence followed. Then. I was wrong. The words came quietly, but they carried weight. Anna looked at him. Waiting. I should have trusted you, Ethan continued. About everything. A pause. I let someone else speak for you. Anna's expression didn't change. And now, she asked calmly. Ethan hesitated. Now I know what I lost. His voice was lower now. More honest. Anna. Stop. The word was soft. But firm. Ethan froze. Anna stepped forward slightly. Her gaze steady. Clear. You didn't lose me, she said. A small pause. You gave me up. Silence filled the room. Because that truth couldn't be argued. I can change, Ethan said quickly. We can start over. Anna looked at him for a long moment. In her past life, this was everything she wanted. To be chosen. To be understood. To be loved. But now. It's too late, she said gently. Not cold. Not angry. Just, final. The life I gave you, she continued softly, is already gone. Ethan's hands clenched slightly. Does that mean, there's no chance? Anna didn't answer immediately. Instead, she walked to the window, looking out at the city once more. There was a time, she said quietly, when I would have given you everything. She turned back to him. But I don't belong to that version of myself anymore. Silence. And in that silence, Ethan understood. Not just her words, but the distance between them. A distance he could never cross again. I see, he said finally. His voice was steady, but something inside it had broken. He nodded once, then turned, and walked out. This time, he didn't look back, because he knew there was nothing left to return to. Days later, the coal house stood quieter than ever. Claire had disappeared from social circles. Whispers followed her name. Scandal. Manipulation. Betrayal. Everything she built had collapsed. Ethan, meanwhile, buried himself in work. Trying to rebuild. Trying to recover. But some losses couldn't be reversed. At Carter and Company, the atmosphere was bright. Celebratory. Alive. Mia leaned against Anna's desk, grinning. Look at you, she said. Successful, independent, and finally free. Anna smiled slightly. It feels different. Better? Mia asked. Anna thought for a moment. Then nodded. Yes. Not because everything was perfect, but because everything was hers. Later that evening, Anna stepped outside the building. The sky was painted in soft shades of gold and blue. Anna. She turned. Daniel Brooks stood a few steps away. You're leaving early, he said. Work is done, she replied. Daniel studied her for a moment. You've changed the market faster than I expected. Anna smiled faintly. You took a risk. And it paid off. A small pause. Then. I have another proposal, Daniel said. Anna raised an eyebrow slightly. Business? He shook his head. Not exactly. Silence lingered between them. Not awkward. Not rushed. Just, open. I don't need an answer now, he added. Anna looked at him. In her past life, love had been sacrifice. Pain. Loss. But standing here, it felt different. Calm. Steady. Equal. I'll think about it, she said. Daniel nodded once. That's enough. As he walked away, Anna turned back toward the city. The same city. The same world. But a completely different life. In her past, she gave everything away. Her love. Her dreams. Her future. And in return, she lost herself. But this time, she took it all back. Not through revenge. Not through anger. But through growth. through strength, through choosing herself. Anna took a slow breath, then stepped forward, not looking back, not hesitating, just moving ahead. Because this time, her life finally belonged to her. Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more original novel stories. And stay tuned, our next story is coming soon.